That's it? That's the last episode? That was just a bunch of cheap walk cycles! What a rip!
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Betrayed us! I'm sorry I ever started this stupid fan club in the first place!
Hey everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really appreciate it. This is kind of weird. This is going to be like my first ever scripted video. I've never done this before because if you watch my channel, you know I mostly do live streams. I have a script sitting in front of me right now, so if I'm looking down like this, like that, then that means I'm reading my script because I've never done this before. So it's kind of weird, but I could not make this review without writing it because I tried to make it without a script and I was just stuttering. I was all over the place. I figured out I'm not good at improvising just yet. So before I get into anything, I do want to make this clear that I cannot discuss this movie without getting into like some huge spoilers. So this is going to be like your one and only warning that this is going to contain massive spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I suggest you go watch the movie first and then come back to this video. But if you've already seen it, or you just really don't care about spoilers, then let's get into it. So first, I'm just going to get out of the way how I felt about this movie. As someone who grew up with FNAF, and I'm still absolutely in love with the series, I am very disappointed to say that I left this movie feeling let down. I felt let down. I did not like this movie. I did not like it. I know that's gonna make some people upset, but I want to be honest. I do want to be honest with you guys. So I will get into what I liked about the movie and what I didn't like, and how I felt they could have improved things. All right, so without further ado, let's get into it. So I can't discuss the things I liked about this movie without first getting into the animatronics themselves. The Jim Henson Company, as always, did an absolutely fantastic job with these designs. The toys are pretty much pulled right from the games. They're so slick and so clean. The Wizards, obviously, are also so detailed. I really enjoyed the voice acting from the toy animatronics, too. Megan Fox fits really well for Toy Chica. I never had any doubts about Megan Fox. I thought that was very fitting for her. Kellen Goff, obviously, he kills it as Toy Freddy. When has he never killed it as Freddy? So I was so happy that he got to voice Freddy in this. And I actually loved Matt Pat's performance as Toy Bonnie. I've seen a lot of people not like his voice for Toy Bonnie because they say that you like can't really tell that it's Matt Pat, which is very true. It's like if you don't know that that's Matt Pat, it's really hard to tell who it is. So I know some people have a problem with it, but honestly, I think it's kind of the point. Like when I see Toy Bonnie, I don't want to see Matt Pat. I want to think, oh, that's Toy Bonnie. So I think he did a fantastic job. I loved Matt Pat's performance. My only issue is that we don't hear Bonnie or Freddy talk much in this movie. They probably have like one or two lines each. Toy Chica is definitely the main one out of the toys. She just had the most screen time and most lines. And of course the puppet's design is perfect. I'm gonna get more into the puppet later because there's a little bit more I want to talk about with her. But in general, I love the animatronics in this movie. They looked absolutely fabulous. The opening into this movie is absolutely like one of my favorite parts of the movie. Okay, so we see Charlotte sitting alone in the diner while everyone else is celebrating a birthday party. Then we see like Vanessa as like a child. She's like talking to Charlie and like, trying to comfort her. But after that, Charlie actually, or Charlotte, whichever one, I think it's the same. Charlotte witnesses Afton. He's like in his like yellow rabbit suit. He's like trying to lure a kid into the back room. He's like behind a door. And she like runs around trying to tell all the parents that she like saw someone take a kid, but all the parents just like ignore her or like brush her off like it's nothing. I thought this was kind of weird. It's more of a nitpick because I get why. I get they needed to give Charlotte motivation for this movie of why she hates the parents. I just think that they probably could have executed it a bit better, a little bit more realistic. But I also did think it was funny. I don't think it was supposed to be funny, but I got a little chuckle out of it because they were just like, go on and come on, the adults are talking. You're just a kid. I don't care. I don't care. It was ridiculous, but I kind of thought it was funny, so I was able to look past it because I just it didn't matter that much. Again, it's just more of a nitpick. But anyways, so she goes into the back room and we see William. He's like cleaning. He's like washing his hands or something like that. But the kid's like still alive. So like Charlotte's like carrying him out to like the diner to like try and save him. And we get which is in my opinion the coolest shot of this movie, which is like William in his suit like chasing Charlotte down the hallway with a knife. And I just love the shot. It's like actually like a little tense, which I don't usually feel with Five Nights at Freddy's, but they did a really good job with that scene. And then we see the part in the trailer where she's like screaming at the parents with like the while she's like holding the kid. But then, she falls to the ground and we like see stab wounds in her back. She dies. And I was really surprised by this because we saw a child's death in this movie. I did not think that we were gonna get that. I think they did it. I think they executed it really well for a PG-13 rating. Um, I honestly like. I always assumed that they were like the deaths of like any of the kids would have just been like just told in a backstory, not actually shown. We didn't see her getting stabbed, but we saw the aftermath of her like falling down and dying and the stab wounds in her back. And I think that they did that really well. It is a pretty big change from the games, where in the game she's just standing outside and William comes in his car and stabs her, and the puppet crawls over to her. But we didn't get that in this one. Instead, like the puppet, like she like falls down a trap door, and the puppet like carries her. Like it rises up from the trap door, and as it's carrying her, and I actually liked that. I don't know if anybody's gonna have problems with that, but I genuinely kind of liked that. I had no problem with that at all. I actually enjoy the humor a lot in this movie, much more than the first one. I know some people probably won't be happy that there's this much comedy in what's supposed to be a horror movie, but like, let's be honest, it's Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay, being scary was never its strong suit. It was more just a good time. So I didn't mind the humor. It's not like fully like Avengers level of humor, like in every moment, but there's a good amount of comedy in this. It definitely did get a fair lot of like out loud laughs for me. Like whenever Mike and Abby go to the they go to the location from the first movie, and Mike he picks up this like bootlegged like Freddy plushie, and when he presses it, it does like the horror like a meme sound effect, and I thought that was hilarious. I loved that. Um, they do have some jokes in here that are kind of meta that I actually did enjoy. One of the meta jokes is when Mike and Vanessa they're like on a little date, and Mike is trying to give her tips on her nightmares that she's having on how like she can maybe confront them more if she like surrounds herself with things that remind her of her past, like what Mike did in the first movie. And then Mike, oh sorry, shaking my desk. And then Mike says, that's what I did when I would sleep. I probably did that too much. He says something like that. And I am like so confident that that is a callback to when people complained about him sleeping a lot in the first movie. So I thought that was pretty funny. I thought it was funny that they kind of touched on that. Um, and then I thought whenever Vanessa and Mike are actually in the office at the pizzeria, Mike asks like where the doors are. Vanessa says like, "Oh, there, no, there's this." Or, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. She's like, "This place doesn't have any doors," and Mike responds with, "What idiot designed this place?" And I like that. The nice little call like Scott's game design. I thought that was hilarious. There is also one of my favorite side characters in this movie, which is Abby's teacher. He definitely got the most laughs out of me because he was like so mean to Abby for like no reason. Like whenever she was in his class, she'd like be in the middle of like making her little Chica robot figure, and she tells the teacher that she's gonna show it off at the science fair, and then he just says something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he says something like, I don't think you should go to the science fair with that. Like that. That's not real robotics." It's just the way that he says it is like it's just such a smart ass about it. I love it. And then there was a part where Abby is actually at the science fair, and the teacher walks up to her and says, "What are you doing here? I don't want you to embarrass yourself." And no, that was really funny. I really like that. And I figured out like that actor was actually he was in Billy Madison, and he was also had a like a role in Jurassic Park also. was like, gosh, that voice is so familiar. Who is that? And I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's this guy. That's why I thought he was so funny. Um, I don't know. It was just hilarious. Uh, and then later, she actually, Abby ends up bringing Toy Chica, like the actual Toy Chica, to the science fair, and he just yells at her. He's like, "This is just pathetic. You're cheating by getting somebody to dress up." And I don't know. I just that was really funny to me. And then like after that, there's a kid off screen he says, "You're such a dick, Mr. Berg." And yeah, no, I really like that. That made all that got my theater laughing a lot. But yeah, I did enjoy some of the comedy in this movie. Some jokes do land better than others, but I think when it does land, it can be really funny. I still don't think this movie is like scary, like at all, but you can definitely tell that they tried a lot harder with the horror in this movie. Emma Tammy did promise more jump scares in the movie, and I think she did deliver. Some of them did actually make me jump a little. The horror in this movie definitely shines when it comes to the puppet. Okay, so the puppet animatronic itself does not have a lot of screen time in this movie. Maybe like a few minutes of screen time in the with the actual puppet animatronic. Charlotte, she actually spends most of her time possessing people's bodies. I think most of the time she's possessing McKenna Grace's character's body. And then Abby, she possesses Abby towards the climax of the movie. I think a lot of people will have a problem with that. The fact that the puppet herself is not in the movie a lot. But honestly, I was really okay with it. I think the only reason I am okay with the fact that the puppet doesn't show up a lot is that when she possesses someone, they look so freaking creepy. Like they have these like Slender Man looking arms and legs, like that wrap around people. And the face is actually really disturbing too. It has these like yellow teeth, like this like creepy ass smile with like the tears running down. I think when Abby is possessed is when the movie is at its like maximum horror because Abby's like genuinely really creepy in that scene. She's like just like laughing maniacally, and she's like just kind of like crawling around with these like long ass limbs, and it was just like it was so freaky, and I liked it. It wasn't scary, but it was creepy, and I really appreciate the movie for that. And they definitely did keep their promise when they said that they were gonna do more jump scares, stuff like that in this movie. So I was really happy with that. Henry sadly does not get as much screen time in this movie. The only scene that he's actually in is when Mike is talking to him in his house. But I'm not too disappointed by it. I did want more of him, but I already expected uh I already expected that to be his only scene in the movie, so I was still pretty happy with him. Because I went with the expectation that he was not going to be in there a lot, but he was still really cool. No, Skeet Urch definitely did like a great job with like the line delivery in this movie. Henry definitely was given like the more cool lines in this movie, which I think is very fitting. He has one of my favorite lines in this movie, which is when he was talking about himself and William to Mike. He said something like, "You get so obsessed with your work that you don't even realize you're sitting next to the devil." It was such a badass line. Me and my friend just looked at each other. We were like, "Yeah, that was cool. That was cool." But no, I really liked that, so I was pretty satisfied with the character. Apparently, he does have more lines in the post-credit scene of this movie. Like, apparently, it's like a little cassette tape, how like it is in like FNAF 6 or like a pizzeria simulator, which I sadly missed because Google told me there was only a mid-credit scene. I didn't want to stay there for the whole credits because, like, just in case there wasn't a post-credit scene, I'd just waste my time. So I Googled it and it said, only, yeah, there's only a mid-credit scene. It's like, okay. But then I watched a review and they were talking about the post-credit scene. I think it was Johnny Blocks. And I was like, well, damn it, I missed it. Um, but yeah, I also think Mike is more likable in this movie than in the last one. Not that I didn't like him in the last one. I still loved Mike. I said Michael, my bad. Mike Schmidt. I think Mike was a lot better in this movie than he was in the last one. Again, I didn't have any problems with him in the last one, but it feels like he had a bit more emotion to him, which I really liked. Not that he didn't have emotion in the last one, but it was just a little bit more fleshed out. And I did really I can't really explain it. If you watch the movie, I think you might get it, or I just might be alone on this. But I do think he's a lot more likable in this one, a lot less of an asshole. Uh, and then when I talk about the ending, I am gonna discuss one of the things that Mike did, like after the climax of the movie, that I actually thought made a lot of sense that a lot of people didn't like. So stay tuned for that. Now, for the last thing that I liked about this movie, we're gonna get into one of my personal favorite scenes in this movie. This is my absolute favorite scene in this movie. I loved it. Is when Mike actually plays Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Another issue people had with the last movie is that Mike didn't actually play Five Nights at Freddy's. So I'm happy that they like really fixed that here. So like in this scene, Mike is like on his computer in the office. He's like telling Vanessa where the toy animatronics are. They're like using trackers, like tracking them around the town. He's like trying to like shut them down also, and he's doing that all while like fending off the withered animatronics. We see stuff like the robots like standing outside the hall. They like stand out there for a second, like look at him, and then like just slowly walk to the office. And then Mike will just throw on the mask, which makes them leave. And I really like that. And they do add in the fact that the mask doesn't work on Foxy, but we don't see Mike using Foxy's weakness against him, which is like the flashlight, which I was a little disappointed about. But again, it's just a nitpick. I just wish we got a part of him like flashing the light at Foxy, but that's okay. Um, Something I forgot to write down was Balloon Boy. Balloon Boy was okay. He didn't really do a lot. I didn't really expect him to, but there was a really funny part in that scene with the office where he just like Balloon Boy's like messing with his computer, like messing with the lights and stuff like that. So Mike just walks up to him, grabs his head, twists it, and throws it, like just like pulls it off and throws it across the room. And I thought that was like freaking hilarious. And in my head, I was just thinking like, wow, that just made like every FNAF fan happy because we all know Balloon Boy's notoriously hated in Five Nights at Freddy's too. So I was pretty happy with that. I thought that was hilarious. Okay, so now we're gonna get into things that I did not like about this movie and what led to me to be overall disappointed when I left the theater. Um, First thing is the screen time for the animatronics. As I said, Toy Chica definitely gets the most screen time out of like any of the other robots. I think I said that. I don't remember if I did. But if I didn't, then yeah, Toy Chica definitely has more lines, more screen time than any of the other robots, which does kind of suck. Not that Toy Chica's bad. She's really good in this movie, but it really like overtakes all of the other animatronics. Like uh let's see. The Wizards too. Like the Wizards I feel like get done the dirtiest in this movie because there's only that one scene with Mike in the office, which is only like a couple minutes long. That's the only scene that the Wizards are in. And I was really sad about that. It kind of feels like the robots just they felt more like side characters in a movie that has them on the poster. I didn't I really feel like they got a lot more time to shine in the first movie and then in the second one. And I think that mainly is because there are more animatronics in this movie, but it probably didn't help that this movie was like 5 minutes shorter when it should have been like much longer than the first one with how much stuff they cram into it. Um, no, and I also get that Charlotte is the main villain of this movie, but the movie it just kind of left me wanting more from the robots. They do get they do each get their own little moment of like attacking somebody. Um, but most of the moments just kind of feel pointless or like don't really lead to anything. They're kind of just there to have them do something. This is like pretty much the only like this is kind of the same complaint I had with the first movie too, where like when the people would like break into the building in the first movie, it kind of just felt like they were just killing them to have kills. Like they were just bodies, and they didn't really lead it. It led to something. It led to Mike kind of getting in trouble, but like that didn't last very long. But this isn't a huge complaint. This is not a huge complaint. Again, this is like more of like a bit of a bigger nitpick, but like still a nitpick. It's not something that's movie ruining because it was still a fun. Those scenes were still fun, but there are just times where the movie got so boring. Like it takes a while to get in with such a short run time too. You think they get into it a little bit faster, but it takes a while for them to get into like the actual toy animatronics and the withered animatronics. Um, And even like the pizza, even like the new improved pizza or the new and improved pizzeria itself, it takes a while to get into it. So it makes like everything like before that just like like just kind of like super boring. I did not like that, but I did have fun with the scenes with the animatronics though. Okay, so this is probably the most controversial part of the movie, because it seems like quite a lot of people are saying that the ending or like the climax of this movie is the absolute like worst part of this movie, and I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. The climax of this movie or the ending of same thing was the thing that made me not like this movie, not like it at all. I think it was Fiznam who said that this ending could ruin the movie for some people. Regrettably, I'm one of those people. I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna explain why. I know it kind of sounds ridiculous, but I will explain. So, at the climax of the movie, which does not happen at Fast Fest, first of all, which seems like the movie was setting up with how much it was talking about. I'm really surprised the climax didn't happen at Fast Fest. It happened in Mike's house instead, which is whatever. But so like the toy animatronics are getting ready to attack Mike, Vanessa, and Abby, and that is when the most power of friendship bull crap happens. When the animatronics from the first movie just bust through the windows and doors and just easily rip apart the toy animatronics. Now this wasn't movie ruining for me, like I said, but I think it was pretty stupid. It was stupid, and just I don't know. It just felt dumb. And I know that FNAF can get ridiculous, and usually that's fine. Usually I have fun with the ridiculousness of the movies or like the games. Um, but this is the last time we're gonna see these robots from the first movie. That's the big issue. I think I would be less upset about the fact, or I think I would be less upset about this part if this wasn't the send off for these animatronics and the kids. And also, it kind of just makes the toy animatronics just seem really weak, and kind of ruins like their intimidation factor, in my opinion. Kind of makes them less intimidating. They can just easily be ripped apart like that by the other robots. And right after this happens, the OGs they break down because they weren't supposed to leave the pizzeria, and then we get the final send off for the kids. They just tell Abby bye, and they let Mike know that they can't hold William Afton back anymore, and they just leave. They leave. And I really feel like it should have been way more emotional than that. Like, take the happiest day mini game, for example. People loved that in the games because it was satisfying. These kids who have been trapped and tortured by the fact that they can't move on to the afterlife finally get their freedom. And it's emotional. But in this movie, it happens like so quickly that there's like no time to feel anything about it. It just happens. It was just executed really poorly. And I wish they spent more time with it to make it feel deserved and satisfying. Um now we are gonna get into which in my opinion is the worst part about this movie and turn this into a movie I would have been satisfied with to a movie I just didn't like. But this part was just again not movie ruining, but I felt like it was really undeserved, and I feel like it really like with how fast it was really took away from the what was supposed to be an emotional moment with the kids moving on to the afterlife. Okay, dear gosh, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think they should have done Michael Afton in this movie to begin with. And I and a lot of other people were okay with the fact that Vanessa was William's only child. As far as I know, a lot of people were okay with that. Um, I had no issue with Michael Afton not being part of this movie series. I love. Don't get me wrong. I freaking love Michael Afton in the games. He's one of my favorite characters. But like they couldn't. I knew that they could make the movies work without him. So like Mike was supposed to be just a replacement for that, and that was fine. It really seemed like they weren't gonna do Michael Afton, and that was okay. So it just kind of feels really random that Michael was in this movie. It makes it really feel like this was a last second decision because there was no tease. There was nothing hinting at that this was like William's other child. So it just feels really last second. He's also barely in the movie. He has two scenes in this movie where he barely does anything besides talk. A huge change with him is that Michael is actually the villain in this movie. He's actually a villain in this movie. He's not a, or I wouldn't say he's a good guy in the games, but he's not a bad guy in the games either. He really tries to fix like the mistakes that he made in the games. But in this movie, he's straight up a villain. But I didn't even mind that. Michael, he can work as a villain if done correctly. But this movie did not do it correctly. He was a one note. He was one note. It seemed like there was absolutely zero depth to him. Like it just felt like no depth, like no like nothing beneath his character. He like he just he says that like he's the mastermind behind releasing Charlotte, what the Charlotte, and starting Fast, but they don't like play into that at all. He just explains it, but like we never see it. His first scene is when the kids from the Ghost TV show go to the pizzeria, and he's like there to like give them a tour of like the new and improved pizzeria. I didn't mind this part. He was kind of cheesy in his first scene, but like he also like kind of made me uncomfortable in a good way. Like because I thought there was gonna be more to him. I didn't mind this scene because I was like, okay, so like now Michael Afton's here. Okay, I wonder what he's gonna do. But that's pretty much shit, except for the climax, where the climax he still doesn't do anything. He doesn't he doesn't feel like a mastermind villain. He doesn't do anything. He lets the puppet kill Lisa. That's it. That's what he does. Then he runs away out of the pizzeria and he's like, "Welcome back, Charlotte." That's it. Nothing. Nothing is showing that Michael and the puppet are working together. The movie just tells you instead of showing you. It spoon feeds you that information, and I really don't like that. Charlotte Charlotte has like from what we've seen, she has no reason to not kill Michael when he shows up in the climax because they never even interacted from what we were shown, they've never interacted like directly. They never talked to each other. So like why would Charlotte spare Michael? Like why would she care about this guy? I don't know. I really didn't like it. As I said, I thought there was going to be more to him until we get to the climax. Even in the climax, again, he doesn't do anything. Excuse me, sorry. He just he yells at Vanessa. He tells her that he has to continue their father. He's like, I have to continue my father's legacy. You're just like him. And then he just tells Charlotte to kill him. He's just like, all right, break their bones. Again, first of all, no reason that she would even listen to him. Then Michael just runs away. He runs out of the house, and then Jeremiah, who's in this movie, just knocks him out. He runs outside. Jeremiah was waiting outside because he had dropped off Vanessa at Mike's house, and Michael runs outside, just gets absolutely bodied by Jeremiah, and boom, that's it. That's it for Michael Afton in this movie. I hope he will be. I hope that in the third movie he will have so much more to do. But he's. I'm sorry, he sucked. He sucked in this movie. And this is no disrespect to the actor. The actor, I have no problem with the actor who plays Michael. It's the writing. Usually, I don't have a problem with lame writing in like the FNAF movies or the games. But when you take a character who's so important to the story of Five Nights at Freddy's and plays like a major role in the majority of the games, and you just can't afford to mess that up if you're gonna bring him into a movie. You can't mess that up. This like major of a character. I think I would have felt a lot better about this character if he was not Michael. If that was not supposed to be Michael and he was just some random villain that the movie came up with, I would have left this movie just thinking, I mean, he was pretty forgettable. That's it. That's the worst it would have gotten. But because he's Michael, because that is supposed to be Michael Afton, I can't help but feel extremely let down and disappointed by him. Because Michael, I know it seems dramatic. I know it seems dramatic because he's just a character from the games. But Michael's like one of my favorite characters from the games. He's such a good character in the games. He only has like one line in any of the games. He talks once, but that's still This person who doesn't even talk at all. The story itself gives him so much more than what this movie gives him. It makes him like gives him so much more depth than what this movie gets him. I I think that's why I feel so strongly about this is because he is one of my favorite characters. My other issue with him is that like, he felt like he had like no emotion either. No emotion. He was evil and he was angry. That's it. That's it. Evil, angry. I think I would have liked it a lot more if in the climax, and he like if they would have changed it in the climax to where when he's talking to Vanessa, but instead of just yelling and being angry and like evil, we saw him hurt. Like if we saw him, like if he showed that he's like genuinely heartbroken that his sister betrayed him and William, because you gotta think, like he like according to him, he feel like she left the family. She betrayed him and their father. So I think it would have been a lot better if it showed that he was more upset, like he was more hurt by that than angry, and maybe even like he's maybe like they have him even be like or like even more heartbroken at the fact that he has to kill his own sister and make him sad, like he doesn't like he never wanted to hurt his sister, but he feels like he has to because he wants to follow his father's legacy. You don't. I'm not saying make him a sympathetic villain, but give him some emotion like some like give some real depth to his character even if it's just a little. That's one of the reasons I really loved William Afton in the first movie, because he wasn't just some one note evil guy. He had like a bit more to him than that. We saw him being manipulative, we saw him being intelligent. Even like when he stabs Vanessa in that movie, you can like see it in his face for like a slight moment, for like the slightest moment in his face, that he like regretted stabbing a Vanessa immediately regretted it. And it was for such a short moment of regret, had such a big impact. That's what Michael needed. Or at least something similar to that. Something other than like just being evil for the sake of being evil. I'm honestly like really shocked. Like I have not seen many people talked about this. I really thought more people would be have a problem with this. Like some people will probably make the excuse that he will do more in FNAF 3. But if they were gonna have him do more in FNAF 3 and have him do nothing in this movie, they should have saved the reveal for the last moments of this movie. In his first scene, he already says that his name is Michael. First time he shows up, he's like, "Hey, I'm Michael." So like, oh, okay, we already know who he is. All right. So like from the beginning, we're told that this guy is Michael Afton. We're told that this guy is important. I think it would have been a much bigger impact if, like, when he first showed up, he just used like some fake name or like didn't even disclose his name. Uh, he doesn't disclose his name. We see him do his thing. Uh, and then maybe have like one more scene with him. Maybe even one more scene with him before the climax. Then in the climax, have him show up and then have the reveal that he's Michael Afton. Maybe like instead of him just announcing to Mike and Abby that his name is Michael Afton. By the way, that's exactly how it goes. Mike's, or I think it's Mike's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Michael Afton." It's just so lame. It would have been so much better if like have something like Vanessa, like like instead of having that, just have Vanessa like just widen her eyes whenever she sees him, and just be like Michael, and then Michael can say something like, "Hey sis." Okay, not say it like that, not say it like that, but like yes, it's cheesy, but it makes so much. I think it makes a much more of a difference rather than just having the reveal in the first half of the movie, because it gets across everything we need to know about this character in just a few lines, and just the reveal in the climax, we would have gotten everything we need to know about him. His name is Michael Afton. He's Vanessa's brother, and it also helps us give more motivations for his actions without us telling it to our faces. We can just guess that okay, he's doing all these bad things, and he's showing up at the end here. And now we know he's Michael Afton, so we can just guess that he's bad. He's a bad guy because he's trying to live up to his father. But the movie just spoon feeds you this information, and I don't like that. I don't like that we like. You can't introduce this big of a character this soon in the movie and then have him do nothing for the rest of the movie. And again, I think that I would have been more forgiving about it. if they didn't reveal it, but it's whatever. It's what happened. And I mean, obviously, like I'm pretty sure like people also reveal or people already guessed that I'm sorry, people already guessed that that would be Michael. When people like saw the glimpse of him in the teaser or like the release footage or something like that. Like everybody already assumed that that was gonna be Michael Afton, but it still would have been better if the reveal had been saved for the end. Like just because from the movie's perspective, it would have made more sense why he didn't show up much. They wouldn't have wanted us to know he was such a big character until the very end. If that's the case, I would have forgiven it more. But the fact that the movie established who he was so early in the movie and then had him do nothing for the rest of the movie just felt really cheap and really lazy on the writing part. And again, it would have made sense if they didn't have him do anything and then reveal that he was Michael, because then would have made again it would have made sense why they didn't show him a lot, because they don't want us to assume that this is a big character. They don't want us to know that that's Michael, so they make it seem like he's not important until the end where we get the reveal. They just they had so much potential for Michael Afton, uh, just in this movie, and I just feel like they wasted it. It was wasted potential. If you're gonna introduce Michael in this movie, have him do something more. And if not, like if you're gonna put him in Finance at Freddy's 3 and have him do more in that movie, fine. But at least have him do something a little bit more. Give us a reason to be excited to see Michael again, and not just be like, oh my gosh, he did nothing. I hope he does something in the next movie. It just they didn't show us like why we should be intimidated by this character. We didn't They didn't show why he's a mastermind, like how he's a mastermind, or like that he's like smart. He was just lame. He was lame, and I think that's one of the biggest. And honestly, it might sound dramatic. I think that's one of the biggest sins that this franchise has committed so far. That's why I didn't like this movie. The wasted potential from one of the biggest characters in this series. That's why I didn't like this movie. That's what ruined this movie for me. And I'm sure people are gonna say that I shouldn't let one thing ruin a whole movie for me. Usually, I agree with that. I usually agree with that, because for the first movie, I thought people were being absolutely ridiculous when they were saying like the fort scene, like the scene where they're building the fort in the first movie. They said that that ruined the movie for them. It ruined the rest of the movie for them. But I think that's ridiculous because it's such a small part in the movie. It just didn't matter. It wasn't important. It wasn't important to the lore. It wasn't important to the story, to the characters. It was just a thing. So something like that, I don't understand why that ruins a movie for some people. But honestly, I feel like it's a bit more justified for this situation, because this is a major character they pulled from the games, a beloved character that so many people were in love with, and they did nothing with him. So yes, Michael Afton is the main reason why I came out of this movie thinking it was bad. I will not again. I'm not going to deny the good things. I'm not going to deny that there were things that I did like about this movie. I'm not going to deny that I had like a big smile on my face at some parts. That did happen, but I feel like something this bad, messing up like this big of a character this bad, just overshadows the good things in some ways. Like okay, so okay, I also realized I did forget to mention why I liked Mike in the ending also. Mike Schmidt, not Michael Afton. Because okay, so in the end, like after they defeat Michael and the animatronics, Mike, takes Abby and tries to leave the house. And then Vanessa tries to leave with them. And then Mike just straight up tells her, just leave us alone. Do not, like, don't ever come near us again. And I've seen some people not like this because they were setting up Mike and Vanessa to get together at the beginning. Honestly, though, I kind of like it because I feel like this was the most realistic thing. This is the most realistic outcome from Mike and Vanessa. Because you gotta think, Vanessa hid the fact that she knew Mike's brother died by her father's hands. Uh, she hid the fact that there was a whole nother location where another murder happened. She hid that she had like an evil brother, and she like brought all of this to Mike's life. And so, like, yeah, of course, Mike is going to be pretty pissed off and he's not going to want anything to do with her. I think that was really justified. I would have thought it was lazy if he would have just forgiven her right away. So I think this is the best route that they could have gone for that so far. But sadly, it wasn't enough to say how I felt about the end. I felt so strongly about how they did Michael Afton in this movie. That couldn't save it. I couldn't save it. In conclusion, I really did not like this movie. They try to stuff so much. I think again, I think the main issue is they try to stuff so much stuff into such a little runtime. Like maybe they could have fleshed out plot points and characters more if the film was like just 20 minutes longer. Put some more scenes in there. Put Michael in there more. Give more time for the animatronics. And because they try to shove so much into this movie when it was only an hour and 45 minutes. So it sucks that we have to wait for the third movie to get more out of this. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you guys and say, oh yeah, it was a perfect 10 out of 10. Everything I wanted. Because that's not true. It's not true. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. I wanted a lot more. Yeah, it was not perfect. And I am a FNAF fanatic. Like I'm obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's, but I'm not gonna lie to myself, and I'm especially not gonna lie to you guys when I don't like something that comes out of Five Nights at Freddy's. I saw a comment on a review for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie that I think is really true. It said there are two types of fans: those who agree when something in their community is bad, and those who will eat anything in their community, like eat up anything in their community, and shame those who disagree with them. And if this video does end up doing well, I have no doubt that there will be people in my comments who completely hate my opinion, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with me, but all I ask is you don't attack me for it. I was able to look past the first movie's problems because I was just happy that it got made, and they did a really good job with my favorite characters from the games. But what they did to Michael in this movie was just it was too much for me to look past. I really wanted to like this movie. I really wanted to love it. I wanted to adore it. I wanted to come out of it saying like you guys are crazy and people who don't like it are crazy. You know, like people just need to have fun with it. I wanted to come out of this movie with that mindset, and because especially since I absolutely adored the first movie, I really wanted to feel the same about this one. But I was just so disappointed when I left the theater for two reasons. Two reasons why I left that theater disappointed. One, because obviously the bad writing, but two, I was disappointed at the fact that I was not able to enjoy something from a series I've always loved. I hated. I hated that I didn't like this movie. I hated that I was not able to enjoy this movie. I really wanted to like it. I I think this is gonna be a little controversial. I think I can confidently say, in my opinion, that I think this is the worst thing that Five Nights at Freddy's has came out with so far. And I know that's controversial because, you know, Security Breach, FNAF World. I love FNAF World, but even with Security Breach, like, yeah, it was a bad game, but I still had so much fun with it. It was a bad game, but it was still fun. Or like with Secret of the Mimic. Secret of the Mimic is not a bad game. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I didn't have like the same charm that Five Nights at Freddy's usually has. But again, I still thought it was fun and it had a lot of cool aspects. It had moments where it was scary. You know, again, the horror is not the main part, but the fun is the main part. But what with this movie, it just did one of my favorite characters so dirty. I couldn't help but feel the most disappointed I've ever felt from this series. This gave me like I've been like slightly disappointed from Five Nights at Freddy's before. This has made me the most disappointed so far. Again, it's and if they would have done this to Michael in the games, I still would have felt disappointed. So it really sucks. It really sucks that I couldn't enjoy this. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna give this movie a rating. Oh, my camera was messing up for a second. Sorry, but yes, I'm not going to give this movie a rating because, again, it's just a matter of opinion. I've seen people who can look past everything, and I've seen people who are really bothered by it. So I don't think a rating is really appropriate for this movie. Um, if you think if you think the negatives, especially with Michael, are enough to make you not like this movie, then I do suggest you wait until it comes like out like on streaming services or on DVD or something like that. But if you're gonna look past those things, look past the problems with the movie, look past the problems with Michael, and just find enjoyment out of what it is, then go buy a ticket, go see it. You're gonna have an absolute blast. I am happy. I'm so happy that there are people who can love this movie and look past its issues. But and usually that's me too. But I could not give FNAF that treatment this time. Now, all right, does this mean that my opinion on Five Nights at Freddy's has changed? No, no, absolutely not. I'm still a huge fan of the series. I do not see a stopping point for me loving this series. I'm still planning on keeping Five Nights at Freddy's a main part of my channel, so I'm still a huge fan of it. This does not ruin my take on FNAF franchise in general. Um, does this mean I lost faith in Emma Tammy or Scott Cawthon? Again, no, of course not. Emma Tammy has proved that she can do something really special with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie just based on the first movie. She proved, like, from the first movie, she proved that she can do something really great with this. And Scott also proved that with the first movie and with many amazing games. It's something most fans have seemed to accept over time, but a lot of fans have not yet, is that Five Nights at Freddy's, it can be bad. Five Nights at Freddy's can be bad. Not everything from a franchise, not everything that the franchise releases is a masterpiece. We had Security Breach. Um, Again, just a terrible Five Nights at Freddy's game. But guess what? They fixed it. They fixed the issues in the DLC with secret. They fixed the issues in DLC, the Ruin DLC, and a lot of people agreed that the DLC for Ruin saved Security Breach. Or Secret of the Mimic. Secret of the Mimic, they still fixed a lot of the problems from Security Breach. I hope. I hope, I pray that this will be a similar situation to that. Hopefully, the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie was just the security breach of the movies. And the next one will be the ruin of the movies. So, hopefully, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 will be the thing to save Five Nights at Freddy's 2. But we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see. I will make sure to give my review for Five Nights at Freddy's 2 when it comes out. And hopefully, I hope that they can do better this go around, writing wise. Again, do not let my opinion stop you from enjoying this movie. Don't let it stop you from watching this movie. It's just an opinion. If you genuinely love this movie, I am very happy for you, and I really wish I could do it. I really wish I could feel the same, but I could not love I could not love it this time. So this is already getting long. I was already worried about this being a long video because this script is like 6 pages long. So I'm gonna wrap it up. But thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate everybody who stuck around. Uh, and any new people that come, welcome. I'm happy that you're here. We do live streams all the time. Play mostly Five Nights at Freddy's games, explore a lot of other games too. But I really appreciate everybody. I really do. And I am really looking forward to when more movies come out. And I'm really looking forward to when more Five Nights at Freddy's games come out. We'll definitely be covering all those. I'm not planning on going anywhere anytime soon. I'm planning on doing this very long term. So I'm excited for the future. I'm really excited for the future of this channel. But thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace.